and I was 5 centimeters dilated. I was 5 centimeters dilated.
823, how you do that? 823, how you do that?
Hey Chaos Gang, it's your girl Q and I'm back at it again with another video. So I'm doing a story time on my birth of Canon Messiah. I'm also, at the end of this story time, I'm gonna attach the clip of when he was coming out of me. I just have to edit it really well because it's a little explicit. But before I even get into my birthday story, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Because, I mean, if you watching and you not subscribed, what you doing? Okay? What you waiting for? Because we at 260 subscribers and it's lit, okay? Thank you guys so much for always tuning in with me. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you for liking the videos. I don't want you guys to ever think the support is not appreciated, because it really is. So my birthing story for Canon. So to start off, when I was 36 weeks pregnant with Canon, it's either 35 or 36 weeks with Canon, I was at work. I just started feeling really lightheaded and like a little sick. So I had told my job, you know, I'm not feeling well, I want to go to the doctor, just make sure that the baby's okay and everything like that. And you know, they were fine with that. I went to the doctor. My blood pressure was extremely high. I can't even remember the exact details, but it was extremely high. I don't know if you guys know or not, but when you're pregnant and your blood pressure gets super high, there's a possibility that you could have preeclampsia. If you have preeclampsia, then you have to have your baby early, or you have to get induced. So I was at 34 weeks, so I was full term, but they would like the baby to at least be 36 weeks before, you know, you have to have the baby. So in order for them to determine if you had preeclampsia or not, they do a protein test. So I had to pee in this like super huge jug for it was like over the weekend, and I had to return it. So I ended up not having preeclampsia, but they put me on bed rest. So I had to, that was my last day working. That day that I left was my
boy, if you don't get
the day that I went to the doctor was my last day working. And I was just on bed rest. I still really couldn't get my blood pressure as low as they would have liked it to be, so that was the reason why they kept me on bed rest. So throughout my pregnancy with Canon, both my pregnancies, but Canon was my first pregnancy, I walked every single day after work, at least a mile. Corey used to be pissed because rain, sleet, snow, I was walking. I did not care. I don't know what article I read or whose YouTube I watched that told me that walking was the way to go when you were pregnant, but I was gonna walk my baby out, okay? So after I was put on bed rest, I still walked, but I just walked way less. And Corey was still working. He was working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I'll never forget, Corey had went to work or whatever, and when he had said goodbye to me to go to work, I had like a little stomach ache. It was literally a stomach ache, no cramping, no nothing. It was just a stomach ache. So I went to the bathroom and I pooped, and it was like slight diarrhea, but it wasn't anything too crazy. So I pooped, and I just felt like that all day. Like, you know, my stomach was still hurting, and I just kept telling him, like, babe, like, my stomach hurting or whatever. So, you know, he was saying, take some Pepto, just like, you know, are you okay? How do you feel? Do you think the baby's okay? And I'm like, yeah, like, my stomach just hurts. So after talking to Corey, he's like, why don't you, and I had a midwife, guys, so that was just my preference. And my midwife she was super helpful. I just felt like having a midwife was more personal. I had started out with a doctor for probably like my first couple months of pregnancy, but I just felt like he wasn't personal. I felt more comfortable with a female, especially a midwife. I just felt like she was like my little pregnant bestie. She was great. So Corey had suggested that I just call her just in case. So I called her, and she kind of asked me, she was like, you know, is it a constant pain, or, you know, just asking me a few questions. And I told her it's just like a stomach ache, but as far as like having to go to the bathroom, it's like every like 12 to 30 minutes or so. Like, so she's like, oh no, you're fine. She's like, you're not bleeding or anything. She's like, okay. She's like, if your stomach starts hurting and it's like every 5 minutes you're having sharp pains or anything like that under 5 minutes, then come in to me immediately. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, she reassured me. I felt great. I'm like, whew, I'm not going into labor today. You know, I want the baby to come, but I'm like, okay, like, I felt better. I'm just chilling and I just have a stomach ache. So the day just continues. Corey comes home from work. We go on our walk. Like, everything is fine. He had cooked barbecue chicken. I had made cinnamon buns. I had an icy. I was just resting on my yoga ball that I had. And I was just chilling, but my stomach was still hurting, like, a little bit. So I had a friend, I was due June the 28th. I had a friend who had a baby in January, my friend Tracy. So y'all will get to meet her very, very soon. So I called Tracy and I'm just telling her how my stomach hurts or whatever. So she's like, girl, if you was in labor, you would know, okay? You would know. Like, you know, you know how you talk to your homegirl, whatever. So she like, you would know. So that kind of made me feel better too. Like, I'm not in labor. Like, I'm good. I'm good. So I'm just laying in the bed with Corey. He's rubbing my belly. We both took a shower to get ready for bed, and then my stomach started hurting more. Like, it started hurting more. So it was 11:55 p.m. I will never forget that. It was 11:55 p.m. and I couldn't lay down. Like, my stomach was hurting so bad that I couldn't lay down. But it still did not feel like, I don't know why, in my head I wasn't having contractions. I don't know. But it was hurting really, really bad. And then I just kept thinking about my midwife saying, you know, if you're having pains or anything and it's like every 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes, come in. But the pains that I was having in my stomach was every like 10 to 12 minutes. But it was hurting. So Corey just like, I think we should just go just see, you know, see what's up. And that's like my biggest thing that I hate. I hate when you go to the doctor and you think you're in labor and then they send you home. So I really wasn't trying to do all of that, but I'm like, okay, babe, like, I'm clearly not going to be able to sleep because I really honestly was thinking I might have like food poisoning or something. I didn't know what was wrong with my stomach. So we ended up just putting the bags in the car just in case, and we go to the hospital or whatever. So we go to the labor and delivery unit. And my stomach is still hurting, but I'm like walking myself there. They offered me a wheelchair. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I walked up, like, everything was fine. I get to the room in labor and delivery, and they take my blood pressure, and my blood pressure is back high. So I'm like, oh boy, like, here we are again with this blood pressure issue. So my midwife comes in and she's like super happy to see me, and she was just you know, reassuring me, just telling me that she'd rather me come in and, you know, she could reassure me that way than me spending the whole night with the stomach ache and not knowing what's going on. So she did the check and I was 5 centimeters dilated. I was 5 centimeters dilated. So I wasn't even in that much pain then. I was like crying though. I'm crying, and you know, my midwife was super happy. She's super big on positivity. So she's like, are you ready to have a baby? You're about to have a baby. And Corey's smiling and she's smiling, and I'm like crying, like, Corey, please call my mom. Tell my mom to get here. So that was pretty much that. For my first kid, I wanted to kind of wait it out to see how well I could do without an epidural, but due to my blood pressure being so high, I had to get the epidural like right when she saw that I was 5 centimeters. So they gave me fluid. You get fluid, which takes about 30 minutes. So by the time I actually got the epidural, I was 7 centimeters. So the epidural, I mean, it felt like a bee sting to me. Like, you just lay down, you know, you have to be super still, so they try to do it when you're not having a contraction. And it was just like a bee sting, and then they let me rest for probably about 4 or 5 hours. I took a little nap for a little bit. Corey took a nap, and then I start feeling like I had to poop, like almost to the point that I was gonna poop on myself. And I kept telling them, like, I have to poop, I have to poop. And she's like, you have to poop? She said, let me check or whatever. So she checked me and she like, that's the baby. It's time. Are you ready to push? You know, it's time to push. So then yeah, I started pushing. That was another thing that, like, I felt like I wanted to do a story time on my birth, because people always say epidural, 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 you'll be numb. When if you really think about the process of having a child, you cannot be completely numb, because how would you push? The epidural relieves pain, but you still feel pressure. So like you can still feel when the baby has to come down. You can still, like, it feels like you just have to poop, and that you like maybe constipated or something. It's not completely numb at all. That's not the true way to describe what an epidural is. Your legs are numb to the point where you can't walk, but like as far as like pressure and stuff like that, you still can feel all of that. So and then another thing I learned too is I just thought when it was time to push, you just push. You only push when you're having a contraction. If you push and you're not having a contraction, you have a chance of making yourself rip. So yeah, so she asked me was I ready to push. I started pushing, and then I will insert the clip for when Cannon popped out.
The uncalled Pete doesn't change over to 8, right? Okay, because it's Raj. So.
I'm excited.
I'm about to meet my mommy and daddy.
That's right. How you feeling? When you're ready, okay? When you're ready. We took the monitor off, so it's really just when you're ready. You got it.
Oh, he's coming.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. A little more right there on the sides, just like that, just like that, just like that. Breathe when you have to.
Oh, good job. Look at you go. One more just like that.
That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. Keep going. There we go. I know. Okay, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. Now give me a little push. Okay, give me a little push.
That's a big baby.
Push, push.
Oh,
He came out waving.
He did indeed. Look, cute, look down. You have such a big
All right. 7:24.
He's here. Hi, baby boy. Listen to him. There you go.
So put her foot
Right here. Well done. Honey. You gonna say something to us? Huh? He's got like a fist, like a toddler. Look at that. He's okay. He's working on it, honey. He looks great. He's curled up in a nice tight ball, and his lips are nice and pink. You're good. You grew such a healthy boy. Look at him.
Way to go, you did it. You did it.
Got to look at, and this long, sweet, beautiful cord. Now this side is not pretty, but this is the side all the magic happens, okay? So it looks a little not nice, but this attaches to the inside of you. You grow this with your baby, okay? So all this is where that magic happens. This is how your baby grows. Now on the inside, it looks like this. This is a giant placenta. But see, look at that. Wow. It's a baby that grows in there. Like a big balloon, and the cord, everything fits right inside there. And when your bag of water broke, it broke right there. And then your baby slipped right through that bag. Pretty cool, huh? Looks gross to you look at it like that. And then it's like, you grow that. Wow. You get a new one every time you have a baby.
Pretty amazing.
So yeah, guys, that is the video for my story time of the birth of my son, Cannon Messiah Barnes. Oh, Not Your Average Mom sweatshirt. I love this. This is my favorite color that I actually have. This is from my t-shirt and sweatshirt line. My sweatshirt line is called Pampered Expressions. I will attach the link below in the description box if you want to purchase. It's super cute, and if you feel like you're not an average mom, then shop up. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and thank you guys for watching.